The Bible says that the earth is flat and there's a firmament over it.
Of course, I'm referring to the Bible when I'm saying that. Like,
right, but the Bible's not reliable about giving us scientific information. Do you think that the earth is flat?
No, I do not.
Okay, then you don't actually believe the Bible is reliable.
Are you talking about the verse that says that?
Many verses.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, can you tell me them?
The circle of the
I think
earth.
the most.
Satan shows Jesus all the kingdoms on the earth all at once. It very unambiguously says that the earth does not move, which isn't necessarily flat earth, but it's very clearly a geocentric book as well, which we know
You
is
don't think
false.
that God could have showed Satan a vision of the four kingdoms on earth?
It doesn't say that he showed him a vision. It says he took him to the highest mountain.
Okay, but like, if God is God, how is that like an absurdity to say?
Because you can't go to the highest mountain and see all the kingdoms of the earth unless the earth is flat, which is what it says in Job 38:14. It says that God can even grab hold of the skirt of the earth and shake it out because it's flat. It's got a skirt. It's a disc. That's why it says it's formed like clay beneath a seal. Do you know what ancient clay seals looked like?
I'm assuming flat.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to show you what the Hezekiah
this is what
clay
I'm
seal
saying.
looks like.
When you guys get into like disproving the existence of a God, when you try to say like the contradictions in the Bible, you always have like I'm sorry to say, but the contradictions you make are just like the slightest things that if
the shape of the earth is a slight thing?
Shaking it out does not literally mean that the earth is flat. Like
how do you grab hold of the edges of a globe and shake it out?
Okay, let's just assume that the earth was flat. How the hell would you ever shake out the entire earth? Of course it's a hyperbole. Like
I know, and the hyperbole entails that it's flat and it has edges.
Oh my gosh, if you really think that's what God was trying to get at with that, then I'm sorry for you. Like that's just so dumb.
The metaphor doesn't work with a globe. That's what I'm saying. No one's saying that God is literally shaking out the earth. We're saying that the metaphor doesn't work. You can't grab hold of the edge of a globe.
Okay,
you can't grab hold of the edge of this. It says that the earth is formed like clay beneath a seal, which is exactly what we have here. This is what a clay seal looked like, which is why they always pictured the earth as being a round disc with a dome over top of it.
Okay, I'm saying even if I were to make an analogy now about shaking out the earth, someone would still probably use that analogy. That doesn't literally mean that they think that the earth is flat. That's just a good analogy to use to say, like, to prove a point.
The point is you can't grab the edges of a sphere. That's the point. If somebody said, well, we turned a new page, and it's like, wait, but life isn't made of pages in a book. It's like, yeah, we know, but like, one event comes after the other, and in a book, you turn the next page. And then someone comes around and says, well, actually, he was talking about his car when he said turn the page. Like, wait, cars don't have pages. Well, you're just not understanding the analogy. No, you can't turn the pages in a car. Cars don't have pages. It doesn't work that way. Globes don't have edges. It doesn't work that way. Yes, it's a metaphor, but the metaphor has to make some sort of sense. Doesn't necessarily have to be literal sense, but it has to make some sort of sense. Spheres don't have edges, so that metaphor can't make sense in that context.
So you don't read poetry, do you?
I don't think you actually understood what he said. No one's saying that God is literally shaking anything. What he's saying is the metaphor is of God grabbing hold of a flat object and shaking it, which you can't do with a globe.
Okay, but if he would have said, I'm going to take a ball and shake it, that just does not sound good.
They didn't know what balls were?
Yeah, but like imagine
he couldn't say the ball of the earth
and shake it?
Yeah.
I mean, he could have, but I think that the other way I think that the other way sounds much more poetic.
It's not more poetic, it's just inaccurate.
Like, okay. This is what I want you to do. I want you to tell me the two best contradictions in the Bible.
Well, we weren't talking about contradictions yet. I love the biblical contradictions. My favorite are the contradictions.
The best one.
Well, there's no best one. I've got like 100 of them,
Yeah,
but my
but they're all
favorite
so
are the ones. My favorite are the ones between the New Testament and the Old Testament, where they can't even remember like who said what. So, for example, if you
that's
go
not a big
to
mistake. Like that, if you're looking at the Bible as a whole and you see something like that saying they can't remember who says what, and you're trying to disprove the Bible in its entirety, no one's gonna buy that. Like, that's like no one.
Okay,
What a
so
wild
when the
goalpost shift. You just asked us
that's
for
a
a
crazy goalpost shift.
You said,
I
"Give me a contradiction." And if you give me and then you switch it to, well, that hardly means that the entirety of the Bible is false. Do you want us to just merely give you a contradiction, or do you want us to somehow prove that the entirety of the Bible is false, which is something we don't even believe in?
Yeah, so I was basically saying that I do believe that there are contradictions in the Bible. However, I do not think that these contradictions are significant enough to throw out the Bible in its entirety.
I'm going to show you one. I'm going to show you a lie in the Bible that's very important. Okay. Have you read Jeremiah 31 before?
Is this about where the oh wait, no, I don't think so.
Okay, so in Jeremiah 31, what's happening is the Israelites are being taken captive by the Babylonians, and God is saying it's okay, they're going to come back eventually, right? You already know in Jeremiah chapter 25, God says they're only going to be taken captive for 70 years. And then in Jeremiah 31, we get the vision of restoration. This is what's going to happen when they come back. And we have a really interesting line about halfway through the chapter where the prophet says, "Thus saith the Lord, a voice is heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel is weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children because they are no more. Thus saith the Lord, keep your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for there is a reward for your work, says the Lord. They shall come back from the land of the enemy. There is hope for your future, says the Lord. Your children shall come back to their own country." What, just on face value, what is this a prophecy about?
The people coming back.
Yeah. Anything else?
To be honest, I wasn't paying attention too much.
I can read it a second time. It's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it says, "Thus saith the Lord, a voice is heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel is weeping for her children." It's a metaphor. Rachel was the beloved mother of the children that was the wife of Joseph. It says she refuses to be comforted for her children because they are no more. Thus saith the Lord, keep your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for there's a reward for your work, says the Lord. They shall come back from the land of the enemy. There's hope for your future, says the Lord. Your children shall come back to their own country. So
Yes,
just on,
that the people should come back and her children should come back as well.
exactly. They're just like in chapter 25, God saying it's okay. They're going to come back within 70 years or so. Now, the problem is if you go to Matthew chapter 2 and go to like 17 to 18, when Herod kills all the babies in Bethlehem, it says, "Then what was spoken through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. A voice is heard in Ramah, wailing and loud lamentation, Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be consoled because they are no more." But we just read Jeremiah. It wasn't about a bunch of babies getting killed in Bethlehem. It literally says that they're going to come back from the land of the enemy. These children aren't coming back from anywhere. They're dead.
So does that mean that the entire existence of that tribe was taken out as well? Or just...
No, you're missing the point. Jeremiah was saying that the Israelites are going to come back from Babylon. That is what the prophecy was about. It was about the Israelites coming back from Babylon. In Matthew, he's saying that that prophecy was fulfilled when Herod executed the babies in and around Bethlehem. But that's a lie. That's not what that prophecy is about.
Yeah, I see. But isn't it kind of like a partial fulfillment though?
No.
Because
Are babies in are the babies in Bethlehem coming back from Babylon?
But then if they return from the Babylonian exile after the fact?
They returned from Babylon hundreds of years before this account in Matthew. That's not what we're questioning. We're questioning is how in the world is anything being fulfilled with the babies being executed in Bethlehem when the prophecy has nothing to do with that?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Right.
I looked something up and it says, the immediate return from exile was partially realized, but the full final restoration was never fully experienced in a historical sense.
I know. It'll never be fully experienced ever because the God of this book isn't real.